Hot already. Can I get this off without?
Do all this, you're gonna have to preach now.
I'm telling you.
Amen.
So better. Gospel of John, chapter 21. Starting at verse 14. The Gospel of John, chapter 21, starting at verse 14. And the text reads, please stand for the word. And it reads, this was the third time Jesus showed himself to his disciples after he was risen from the dead. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him a second time, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me? Yes, Lord, he said, you know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. He said to him a third time, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him a third time, do you love me? Peter said to him, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. Church, friends, and family. You may be seated. Now I'm going to take this slow because I want him to take over.
Amen.
Take it slow. Some of us are one good mistake away from being used by God. One embarrassment, one shameful act from being used by God. I wanted to talk to you about this conversation between Jesus and Peter. As interesting as it is, the other disciples never uttered a word. And as it should be, you and God. What's it to them? And that's our subject for tonight. What's it to you? The Bible tells us here the disciples were fishing and Jesus came to help them. Then did what normal people do after fishing. They sat and ate with him. Verse 14 tells us after he was crucified, this was the third time he showed himself to his disciples. And after they were done eating, he said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me more than these? Now it is said that these refer to the other disciples. Some people think it means he's talking about the fish. Some people say the world. Fishing was Peter's profession. But in Matthew 4:19, while fishing, Jesus said to Peter and his brother, I will make you fishers of men. They dropped their nets, their life, and followed him.
Amen.
So if you look into these, we have the disciples, we have friends and family, and we have a bigger picture of the world. Jesus asked, do you love me more than these? Your family, your money, your world. Now, I don't know about you, but it's to my understanding that if I put God first, he takes care of my job, he takes care of my friends and my family. My job supplies my world, visits with friends and family. So anything that comes in these areas should have to come through Jesus.
Amen.
Amen? Either way, he gets his point across. Do you love me more than these? Peter says, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Feed my sheep. He made it a little bit more personal by asking a second time, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me? Peter says, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Jesus replies, feed my sheep. Now, who are these sheep? We are the sheep. You, me, the person sitting next to you, the guy in prison, the cashier at the gas station, the social worker. That's right, even the police officer who pulled you over.
All right.
The only way to know who God's sheep is to seek for them.
Amen.
He said, I will make you fishers of men. How many fish do you know come to where you are?
Come on.
Reverend? None.
Amen.
Jesus said, and I quote, go ye, means you and me, go to all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He didn't say wait till Sunday. He didn't say,
Go ahead.
Come on
he didn't
now.
say wait till they come to you.
Amen.
He said go and preach to every creature. So to do so as fishermen, we have to get in the water. And once you do, there may be fish in there, but no bite.
Come on.
See, understand this, that not everyone wants to hear what God has to say.
All right.
You're going to be rejected, laughed at, talked about, and we have to prepare ourselves for this because once we do, once it happens, once we've done everything that God asked of us, what do? You move and cast again.
Amen.
Then Jesus asked him a third time. Here's when things are starting to heat up. Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me? Then Peter began to feel some type of way. He began to see what Jesus was doing. The Bible says that Peter grieved. You know that moment you realize that God is trying to teach you something and you're a few hours, days, or weeks behind? And we say, oh, I get it now, Lord. I get it. Loud and clear. When we get it, it's loud and clear. This was one of those moments, but notice how Peter was just a few seconds behind. On point. Do you see the connection? This is this very conversation is an example of our Savior's redemptive attributes. Because if you recall, because if you recall, Peter denied Jesus 3 times while Jesus was being beaten and spit on. You remember the lady said, this man was also with Jesus. Peter said, woman, I do not know him. A man asked him, aren't you one of his disciples? He said, man, no, I'm not. Another time, didn't I see you in the garden with him? Peter said, I do not know what you're talking about. But as we know, Peter was a believer. He walked with the Son of God. So in John 13, Jesus told Peter, you are going to deny me. So why did he do it? Where was the connection at? Do we continue in sin so that grace may grow? Of course not. He still did it because God foretold it.
Amen.
He did not say you will be tempted. He said you will deny me.
Amen.
Remember this, if God says something is going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yes.
He didn't say when, he just said what would happen after so that you know he is God.
Yes.
Look, God said you will bear a child. He didn't say when, but Sarah and Abraham got impatient.
Come on now.
God said, listen, rain is coming. Noah started building the ark ASAP. People thought he was crazy, but he kept on going on with God's work. God said, I will use you to save the people. Jonah took off, tried to run out of fear, tried to run from God. Let me tell you something. When this God has your back, there's no reason to be scared. There's no reason to be dismayed. There's no
Come on
reason
now.
to stress,
Amen.
to build heart. much. Your health isn't too much.
Amen.
Your family isn't too much. Co-workers aren't too much. Your
Amen.
alternator isn't too much.
Come on now.
Your attitude isn't too much.
Amen.
He's got
Amen.
your back after death.
Amen.
Nothing is too much for this God.
Amen.
So don't make the mistake and doubt Jesus with anything that you have. Because with Jesus, it'll be a whole lot better. It'll be a whole lot better with him than without him.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
But that was Peter's mistake. His shameful act. See, before he denied Jesus, Peter was too prideful, too arrogant, too strong-minded, and now humble and ready to be used by God. And that was his turning point. Anybody in here remember your turning point? My mother talked on mine a little bit. That was his turning point. Peter had it easy at his turning point. Some of us got to go to war. Some of us got to get cancer. Some of us got to go to jail. Somebody lose someone close to us or a leg. Listen, don't wait for something to happen for your turning point, because whatever happens will be a whole lot better with the strength that Jesus gives.
Amen.
And some of us may have already accepted Jesus into our hearts. Some of us may have our salvation, yes. But that does not mean that redemption is no longer necessary. God knows your heart, how you feel when you're scared, and how much you can take, and when you're going to fail.
Amen.
We all have crosses to pick